As always, 2018 offered up another year's worth of memorable moments from the world of mixed martial arts. From the east to the west, the world's fastest-growing sport found a way into sports headlines, and here are some of the biggest stories inside and out of the cage from the past 12 months. Champions are not born, they are made. 2018 definitely belonged to famed Filipino mixed martial arts stable Team Lakay. The humble Trinidad, Benguet-based gym has established themselves as the top team in the Philippines for the past few years, but in 2018, they cemented their status as one of the best in the world. Building off their elite-level striking skills and continuously improving grappling accumen, the boys from Baguio City dominated Singapore-based MMA Promotion 1 Championship, capturing 4 world championships in just a span of a single year. Flyweight star Gravity Eustaquio. After putting together a tremendous winning streak, young strawweight star Joshua the Passion Pacio. Much like his stablemate Eustaquio, Kevin the Silencer Balingan had to go through 2 world champions to take his place at the top of the bantamweight division. After blasting former world title challenger Andrew Leon with a now famous spinning back kick in April, Balingan dominated then 2 division world champion Martin Guyan to become the 1 interim bantamweight world champion and finally earn a long-awaited rematch with longtime bantamweight king Bibiano Fernandez. In November, Balingan did what no other man in one has done and defeated Bibiano Fernandez via split decision to become the undisputed 1 bantamweight world champion, ending Fernandez's 7-year winning streak and 5-year reign as 1 world champion. Capping off Team Lakay's spectacular 2018 campaign was the return to glory of arguably the biggest homegrown MMA star in the country, Edward Landslide Falayang. After losing his title 12 months prior, Falayang put on a masterclass against dangerous Singaporean contender Amir Khan at 1 Conquest of Champions in Manila in early December to once again capture the 1 lightweight world championship for the 2nd time in his storied career. Outside the 1 championship banner, another world champion from Team Lakay continues to reign as Brave Combat Federation bantamweight world champion Stephen the Sniper Lohman successfully defended his title twice in 2018. The truth returns. Speaking of Filipino world champions, the biggest one of them all finally made his return in 2018. After a 2-year absence due to outside commitments, reigning 1 heavyweight world champion Brandon "The Truth" Vera made his way back to the cage, and his comeback was nothing short of explosive. Taking on the hard-hitting Italian challenger Mauro Cirilli in Manila last December 7, Vera needed only 64 seconds to dispatch Cirilli via knockout and remain the king of the 1 championship heavyweight kingdom. Notorious. Conor the Notorious McGregor was arguably the biggest combat sports star of 2017 after crossing over to boxing and facing off against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the year's biggest combat sports event. In 2018, the Notorious One was all over the headlines once again. In April of 2018, McGregor was stripped of the UFC Lightweight World Championship due to inactivity. Earlier that month, the Irish star was at the forefront of a backstage melee during the UFC 223 Media Day in Brooklyn, New York, that saw McGregor hurl a dolly at a bus full of fighters, leading to a number of minor injuries. McGregor would later be slapped with charges due to the attack. In August, it was announced that McGregor would be making his return to the octagon to challenge reigning lightweight king Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov, who was the initial target of McGregor's backstage bus attack earlier that year. "I come for smash this guy." The drama-filled lead-up to the UFC Lightweight World Championship bout between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor made it no doubt one of the most anticipated matches of the year, and when the two were finally locked inside the octagon, it didn't disappoint. Nurmagomedov ultimately imposed his will, grounding McGregor for 3 rounds before finishing the Irishman off in the 4th round with a rear naked choke to remain unbeaten and retain the UFC's 155-pound strap. What happened after, however, overshadowed everything that came before it. After forcing McGregor to tap out, Nurmagomedov scaled the octagon fence and jumped out to the crowd to confront Dylan Dennis, McGregor's grappling coach. It didn't take long for mayhem to ensue as chaos broke out inside and out of the cage. Both Nurmagomedov and McGregor have been suspended indefinitely, with the final hearing, which will decide the fate of the 2 fighters, expected to take place this month. The home of martial arts. Since ONE Championship's inception in 2011, it is primarily operated as a mixed martial arts promotion. In the past years, one has put on grappling super fights and special martial arts bouts. In 2018, however, one took it to a whole new level by introducing the One Super Series back in April, which features Muay Thai and kickboxing bouts. The new wrinkle has attracted some of the world's best strikers, including Giorgio Petrosyan, Yudsankliu Fairtex, Andy Sauer, Cosmo Alexander, and many more. One also dipped their foot in boxing, bringing in reigning WBC super flyweight world champion Srisaket Sorungvisai as the headliner for one's October card in Bangkok, where he successfully defended his title against Mexican challenger Iran Diaz in front of a raucous hometown crowd at the Impact Arena. DC also stands for double champ. No other fighter has had a better 2018 than Daniel DC Cormier. After being named the UFC light heavyweight world champion after John Jones tested positive for banned substances during their 2017 title bout, Cormier successfully defended the 205-pound belt against Volkan Oezdemir. 6 months later, Cormier jumped up to heavyweight and shocked the world by knocking out the once dominant champion Stipe Miocic to become just the fifth two-division world champion and the second simultaneous two-division world champion in UFC history. In November, DC made even more history by becoming just the first fighter in UFC history to successfully defend world titles in two weight divisions after submitting Derek Lewis in the second round. Big stars had East Asian mixed martial arts giant One Championship made worldwide MMA news in 2018 after snagging a handful of big-name talents in former UFC and Bellator lightweight world champion Eddie the Underground King Alvarez, former longtime UFC flyweight world champion and pound-for-pound great Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, and former UFC lightweight and welterweight standout Super Sage Northcutt. Alvarez and Northcutt signed with One after their UFC contracts had expired, while Johnson made his way to One via the first-ever trade in MMA history, which sent former One welterweight world champion Ben Funky Askren to the UFC. All three stars are set to make their debuts in 2019. Aside from bringing in top-tier athletes, One also brought in another big name to fill an executive spot, with former UFC and Strikeforce women's bantamweight world champion Miesha Tate coming in as a vice president.